Okay, so our today's topic is blood. Okay, so what is blood? Blood is a tissue. Why it is a tissue? Because it is a group of cells, red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, so many cells. When there are group of cells working together, that thing is a tissue. So it consists of the liquid part of the blood. It is a liquid tissue, by the way. And the liquid part of the blood is the plasma. Okay. In the plasma, there are white blood cells, red blood cells, platelets floating. But there are so many red blood cells as compared to the white blood cells that the plasma looks red in color. Otherwise, if you will remove red blood cells and white blood cells and everything, the plasma will be pale yellowish in color. So what is actually plasma? 90% water and then 10% salts. So our blood is actually made up of salts. It is the medium of transportation. Everything dissolved in the blood plasma and then it is circulating in the body. So what are the things which are dissolved in blood plasma? Digested food. So everything which goes via blood should be in the liquid form. Like blood is a liquid. It will not carry anything which is in the solid form or which is in the gas form. So everything should be in the liquid form, solution form. So the digested food, waste products, hormones, everything in the solution form, is dissolved in the blood plasma. And plasma also contain the blood cells. Okay, acha. So what are the general functions of the blood? Can you guess some of the general functions of the blood? Copy down. I am telling you what are the general functions of blood. Number one, carry oxygen from lungs to the whole body. Carry oxygen from lungs to the whole body.
Okay.
Number two, carry carbon dioxide from the cells back to the lungs.
Okay.
Number three, carry metabolic wastes from the cells to the concerned excretory organs. Carry metabolic waste from the cells to the concerned excretory organs. Carry metabolic waste from the cells to the concerned excretory organs.
Okay.
All right. Fight against the infections. Fight against the infections.
Okay.
Carry heat throughout the body.
Okay.
So what do you mean by carry heat throughout the body? Whatever the chemical reactions are taking place in our cells, they are exothermic in nature. They generate heat. So from the cells, the heat is released in the blood. And the blood is taking the heat throughout the body. This is the reason that why our body is warm. Why the blood is warm? Because it carries heat. Achha. Now come to the, this red blood cells. Okay. So what are red blood cells? Look at the picture of the red blood cells. This is how they look. Rounded in shape, slightly compressed in the middle part, swollen all around the edges. This particular shape, which you can see over here, is called biconcave disc shape. So wait a minute. Biconcave disc shape. This particular shape. Okay, so let me write it over here. I'm seeing that I have missed the features. So what are the some of the adaptations, you can say, adaptations of the red blood cells? Adaptation means what special properties do they have for which they are best adapted for their function. So they are biconcave. disc shape. So how it is useful? It is useful that they can, travel in the blood without without, you know, collision or hitting with other cells. They can easily float like a boat. Biconcave disc shape, which enables them to float in the blood with other cells. There will be no traffic jam in the blood. With other cells, they can easily circulate. This is one of the features. Okay. Another feature of them is they do not have any nucleus. Is there any cell in the body without nucleus? There is no cell. Without nucleus, there is no life of the cell. What does it mean? They are not the cells. Then what they are? They are small packets of hemoglobin. They do not need any cell. They do not need any nucleus. They do not have any nucleus. So what is the reason behind it? The reason is that so that they can hold lots of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the red color pigment which absorbs oxygen. So that they can create lots of space for hemoglobin, Allah has not given them any nucleus because their function is to just carry the oxygen and take it to the whole body. So they do not have any nucleus inside them. The third is special adaptation is they contain hemoglobin to carry oxygen. This hemoglobin is an iron and protein combination compound. Heme means iron. So iron and protein combination compound which absorbs oxygen. Another feature of these red blood cells are they are extremely very small, and can easily pass through the capillaries. Capillaries are the branches of arteries and veins which are as thin as our single strand of hair. And they are so small that they can even pass through those capillaries. So these are some of the special adaptations of erythrocytes. What are erythrocytes? Red blood cells.
Okay.
Tell me when I have to rub the board.
All right. Done.
All right. Now, how do they work? What is the function? How do they work? Now look at this. This is the cross section. Function of the red blood cells. So they absorb hemoglobin when the blood comes to the lungs. We have seen that the deoxygenated blood comes to the lungs. So the deoxygenated blood, when it comes to the lungs, hemoglobin absorbs oxygen and hemoglobin forms an unstable compound. What is the name of the unstable compound? The name of that unstable compound is oxyhemoglobin. So during blood circulation, when the blood is, for example, this is our cell. All right. And this is the blood vessel which is passing just beside the cell. And in this blood vessel, there are red blood cells. There are red blood cells like this. And what do they contain in them? They contain inside them oxyhemoglobin because they are coming from the lungs after absorbing oxygen. So they contain inside them oxyhemoglobin. All right. They contain inside them oxyhemoglobin. So they have, let's say, oxyhemoglobin. So when they come near the cells, oxygen and hemoglobin splits up. The bond in between oxygen and hemoglobin breaks up. Oxygen goes to the lungs, cells, and hemoglobin returns back to the lungs to pick up more oxygen. Is this idea clear, Hiba?
Yes.
Okay. Now see, look at this. So this is the red blood cell. This is the hemoglobin. Oxygen, see this blue color arrow, oxygen is getting inside and oxygen attaches itself to the hemoglobin molecule. And now you can see the second cell is full of oxyhemoglobin. Now the third picture, now the red blood cell has reached beside the cells. So hemoglobin, these rounded things are still there, but oxygen just, tears it apart from the hemoglobin and going to the cell. And this red blood cell is going back to the lungs to pick more oxygen. Acha, white blood cells. So there are different type of the white blood cells, but the two main type we are concerned with are lymphocytes and phagocytes. So you can see these two over here. What are the differences in between lymphocytes and phagocytes? So look at the lymphocyte. It is rounded and it has a big rounded nucleus. If you will look at the phagocyte, this is the phagocyte. It is irregular in shape. The shape is irregular, something like this, and it keeps on changing the shape. And it has got a thin string-like nucleus. This is the nucleus. A string-like thin nucleus, and it is irregular in shape. And it has the ability that it can change the shape, just like an amoeba. Amoeba changes the shape. Amoeba is a microscopic organism. It keeps on changing the shape. How does it change the shape? Just the cell membrane, extends and form finger-like projection, and the entire cytoplasm flows in it. And then it, just like a person swims in water by moving the hands, so it swims in the blood plasma by moving these false extensions. So these false extensions are called pseudopodia. 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 So they produce pseudopodia. What are pseudopodia? False extensions or false arms to swim in blood plasma. This is the peculiar nature of the phagocytes. Now, what are they doing? What phagocytes are actually doing? So whenever any germ enter in our body, Heba, just give me one.
Okay.
So, so whenever any germ enter in our body, okay, for example, one bacteria has entered in our body or few bacteria has entered in our body. So the lymphocyte in our blood, the lymphocytes in our blood, they can, like, on the cell membrane of every organism, there are some proteins, there are some identification markers. The way we have got fingerprints, so on every living cell membrane has got some identification markers. They are some special type of proteins. We call them antigens. We call them antigens. So on the bacteria cell membrane also, there are those special type of the proteins called antigens. So when they come inside our body, our lymphocyte can recognize these antigens, and in response, they start producing another sort of the protein, which is called antibodies. Antibodies are a special type of the proteins which are produced in response to the antigens. What are antigens? The foreign particles are called antigens. Now, what these antibodies are doing, the antibodies are acting like a glue. So what they are going to do, they will clump up the germs together. They will arrest the germs. They will clump up the germs together. So the function of the lymphocyte is to produce antibodies in response to the antigens. What are antigens? Foreign particles. And this antibody is as a glue sort of protein which clump up the germs together. Now, who will come? The germs are being clumped up. Now, phagocytes will come. So these are the phagocytes. So phagocytes has the ability that they can squeeze out of the blood vessel. So now see, the phagocytes are squeezing out of the blood vessel, producing false arms, swimming towards the, germs, and eventually they extend their arms and engulf the germs, ingest the germs. The germs will go inside the cytoplasm and they will be locked up inside the cytoplasm in a vacuole. Now, the nucleus of the phagocytes, here is the nucleus, a thread-like, string-like nucleus. The nucleus of the phagocyte start producing digestive enzymes inside the nucleus, which will digest the germs away. This is called our primary immunity or primary immune response. What is primary immune response? When the germs are coming inside our body, day and night we are eating the food, the germs are going, we are inhaling, the germs are going in our body, we are drinking, germs are going in our body, but we are not becoming sick because our immune system is strong. How your immune system is strong? As soon as the germ enter in your body, lymphocytes start producing antibodies. They will clump up together. Phagocyte will rush and will eat them away. This process is called phagocytosis. Now you look at this. This is the picture. So this is the lymphocyte you can see. And these Y-shaped things which are coming out, these Y-shaped things are called antibodies, and this purple color thing is the bacteria. So the antibodies are, clumping the bacteria away. And then it will be ingested. It will be eaten up. Look at this picture. This is the phagocyte. The phagocyte is producing arms-like things. The bacteria is going inside, and eventually it will get inside the phagocyte, and the phagocyte will digest it. So this process is called phagocytosis, and this is our primary immune response. Clear, Hiba?
Yes.
So this is the entire thing which I have explained written over here. So let's move to the next part. So we have seen the function of lymphocyte. We have seen the function of phagocyte. Achha, it's not finished over here. No, it's not finished over here. Let me tell you one more thing here.
Okay.
This is the primary immune response. Okay. Now, there is another immune response, which is called secondary immunity. Secondary immunity. So, what is secondary immunity? Secondary immunity is there are some diseases which, if once happens, never happen again in the life. For example, measles, pox. If once you have it, you will not have it again. Why? What is the reason behind it? Secondary immunity. What is secondary immunity? Some of our lymphocytes, they will recognize the germs and they will stay in our lymphatic system as a memory cell, sometimes a longer period of time, sometimes lifetime. So next time when the same germ will enter in your body, for example, a person had pox. So the person has produced lots of antibodies and the person was fighting with the pox and the person is now, recovered. But some of the white blood cells have recognized the germs of the pox and now they are in the body for the lifetime. So when the next time the same germ will enter in our body, in the body of that person, these lymphocyte will take no time to recognize the germs. They start producing double antibodies they produced before, and the germs are instantly killed before showing any symptom of the disease. This is called the secondary immune response. Then why it is only for pox and measles? Why it is not for some other diseases or many other diseases? Like once if someone has got typhoid, it can happen again. If someone has got fever, influenza or COVID, it can happen again. Why? Because most of the germs have the tendency of gene mutation. What is gene mutation? When we will do the chapter of genetics, then you will see gene mutation is they change the sequence of the genes. So when they change the sequence of the genes, lymphocytes do not recognize them. It is just like, for example, a thief has entered in our house. So the thief is caught and the thief is now taken to the jail. The thief is released. When the second time the thief will come, now the thief is wearing the mask and the glasses. So now we have some time, we will take some time to recognize that this is the same person. By that time, the thief is going to do his work. So the same thing is happening with most of the germs, that they do the gene mutation. They change the sequence of the genes. So lymphocyte, they are unable to, recognize them. So they cause the symptoms of the disease. But some of them, some of the germs, they cannot mutate their genes. They cannot change the order of the genes. So they are caught as soon as they come in our body. Did you understand, Hiba?
Yes.
So some, please write down, it is not there in the slide. Some of the
Okay.
lymphocytes recognize the germs and become the memory cells. Next time, when the same germ enter the body, they produce double antibodies, or you can say more antibodies, and instantly kill them. So that is our secondary immunity or secondary immune response. Tell me when you finish writing.
Okay. Yes, done.
Okay. Now, the third type of the immunity is called artificial immunity. So, what is this artificial immunity? So, this artificial immunity is actually vaccines. So, the children up to the age of 5 years, they are given with a series of vaccines. Not only that, when we had this pandemic COVID, we all are given with the COVID vaccine. So, what are actually these vaccines? These vaccines are the dead or very weak germs of a particular disease. For example, now if I will take the vaccine of COVID, they will inject in my body very weak or dead germs of COVID. This is the reason that after taking vaccine, a person becomes sick. So, why the germs are deliberately injected in the body when we are vaccinated, so that our lymphocyte start producing antibodies in response to those germs. So we will have lots of antibodies in our blood. Number two, we want our lymphocyte to recognize the dead germs and to stay in our system for a longer period of time as memory cells, so that when the real germs, living germs enter in our body, they will take no time to kill them. This is the induced or artificial immunity. Not only that, not only the vaccine. Suppose I had COVID. Yes, I had COVID. When everyone had, I also had. Maybe that time when there was pandemic, you were very small that time. You don't even remember the time of COVID.
No,
We
I
were all
do.
shut. You remember? Acha. We were all shut down for 2 years. So we all had COVID, like me, my husband, my children. But Alhamdulillah, I will say that I am strong enough.
My
Alhamdulillah.
parents as well.
So what happened, I did not have any fever. I did not have any coughing or anything. I just lost the sense of smell. And then that time I had to, in any way, I had to go to Pakistan for some very emergency thing. So before that, it was mandatory to go for the COVID test. I did not even know that I'm COVID positive. So when I bought the ticket, and after buying the ticket, I went for my test, I saw that I'm COVID positive. I had to postpone my trip. So, so after, for example, after I recovered from COVID, my lymphocytes by that time had produced lots of antibodies in my blood plasma. So when I recovered, my blood plasma was full of antibodies against COVID virus. Now, suppose there is another person who is fighting, who is sick, who is old, whose immunity is very weak, and that person cannot cope up. So, what I can do, I can give my blood plasma, I can donate my blood plasma to that struggling person so that he or she can get ready made antibodies and can fight with the infection. And it happened. Many young people that time, they have donated their antibodies, they have donated their blood plasma after they recovered from the COVID. So similarly, suppose if God forbid I have got, or anyone has got typhoid or any type of disease, after we recover, we can donate our blood plasma so that if any other person needs ready-made antibodies, instantly they can give. That is called artificial immunity. So what is artificial immunity? Vaccines are the weak or dead germs deliberately injected in the body, so that lymphocytes can produce antibodies and can become memory cells to fight with the real germs if they enter the body. Similarly, the blood plasma of a person recovered from a disease contains antibodies which can be donated to another person as the source of ready-made antibodies.
Done.
Okay, fine. So now we are moving. We will finish fast. 5 minutes are left. Platelets. So what are platelets? Platelets are actually not the cells. Rather, they are the broken pieces of the cells. From where they are coming? From the red blood cells and white blood cells. They are actually coming from the bone marrow, the fatty substance in the bone. So when the red blood cells and white blood cells are being formed in the bone marrow and coming in our blood, some of them, some broken pieces of the cells are also released. They are called platelets or thrombocytes. So what they actually do, they help in blood clotting. How they help in blood clotting? So when we have got a cut in our body, on our skin, the platelets in our blood, they start producing a special type of the protein called fibrinogen. All the details are written over here. You will read it later. So you can see these blue color fragments, the broken pieces of the cells, they produce a special type of the protein called fibrinogen. Or I'm very sorry, our blood plasma contain this protein fibrinogen already there. So these platelets, they convert this soluble fibrinogen protein into insoluble protein. So this insoluble protein is in the form of the thread-like structure. So this thread-like structure, you can see this is spiky gray color things. So the thread-like insoluble proteins are formed and they will make a network all around the cut part of your body, where the red blood cells will come and they will be entangled. So there will be a sort of plug will form over here to stop the further bleeding, So if platelets will not be there and if there will be a slight cut in our body, we might bleed to death. What happens when someone has dengue fever? I don't know whether you people have it there or not, but in our Asian countries, dengue fever in the rainy season is very common. It happens due to the mosquito breeding. So the mosquitoes cause this dengue fever. And what happens in dengue fever? The platelets number decreases in our blood. So internal bleeding starts. Any organ start bleeding from inside. Under skin, the tissues start bleeding, nose bleeding, gum bleeding. And if it is not restored, if the platelets are not given to the person, if it is not restored on time, the person can die. 2 months back, one baby in our family in Pakistan died, newborn baby. The baby had, this dengue fever. He was only 1 month old. And he became so sick that he started bleeding through his nose and through his ears, and he instantly died. So this happens when platelets decrease. Then darwaza band, close the door. So this happened when platelets decrease. So platelets are playing a great role in our blood clotting process. Did you understand, Hiba?
Yes.
Okay, so we have finished this chapter. The entire chapter is done. My guest arrived right now. So I'm finishing the class. 1-2 minutes are left. My guest will leave. I will give you the slides and the recording today and yesterday's one. Got it?
All right,
Hiba?
miss.
Okay, Allah Hafiz. Bye bye. See you on
Allah
Saturday.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.